Welcome, everybody. Welcome to a new year of UFO Man Live. We want to wish everybody a happy new year. Tonight, we have the return of a very special guest. Her name is Rowan Bowe. She's an ET contactee and experiencer. She's also a burgeoning author. She's writing a book right now about her experiences. Please welcome Rowan Bowe.
Hey,
Hi,
Ro.
everybody.
Great
Hello.
to have you with us again.
Thanks, Polly. Thanks for inviting me back again.
What we're going to do tonight is we're going to discuss some things. And one thing I need to set straight is Rowan told me that she really didn't have a hypnotic regression. She went into a meditative state to remove blocks that were placed in her mind by the non-human intelligences that she encountered. So let's get into that discussion with Rowan Bowe and let her take it away. Rowan, you got the stage.
In August last year, I did have a meeting with Mary Rodwell, and we decided that because I was fully aware of a lot of my own experiences anyway, that to do a full hypnotic regression of 40 years of contact would almost be impossible. So rather than us going down that track, we did a Zoom meeting for an hour, and during which we did have a guided meditation in which she asked the universe or whatever it was that she was talking to remove blocks from me, from my chakras or any implants that I'd had, or memory blockers. So I had a headache for about a week after that, and I noticed that's part of this thing where you kind of get really intense headaches after some sort of contact. And I have found memories hiding in there ever since, which is amazing. I didn't think it would work. I thought this is not something that I'd ever had done before. So to actually discover that I've got memories in there, and it's funny because you sort of turn around and you go, hang on a second, why do I remember something? It's not like you actually think about it, and you don't consciously make something up. You're actually remembering an event. So that's incredible. I've had a few memories come back, to do with the blondes mostly. I do remember when I had some missing time. People might be familiar with my story, where the UFO was following my car for miles and hours in the UK. And then I realized I had some missing time when we stopped and we went to a rest station, and I met the blondes there. They actually took me into the craft, and I met babies actually. So that was really
Maybe
pleasant.
for our audience, and maybe we can make a little recall about your experience. Tell us what happened, and so we can make a combination of what did you discover afterwards through your meditation.
Yeah, we need a summary up front for maybe some of the people that are new in the chat that aren't familiar with your encounters.
So I have had encounters with 3 different species since I was about age 8 or 9. The first species that I had encounters with, they were the small, dark, hooded men. And I've only just recently watched Communion. I hadn't realised I'd never watched it. And they feature prominently in Whitley Strieber's, in the movie anyway. So they were in my life for about a year or a few months anyway, when I was living in Taree in New South Wales in Australia, and they were coming into my bedroom, and I think I was getting taken out of the bedroom, but what they were showing me was how time works, or how they slow time down and how they fasten time up, and it was really disturbing. And that would play, when you accidentally sort of feel like sometimes, God, why is everyone talking so slowly, and everybody, or sometimes everything feels so fast. Anyway, they were doing that. And then when I was 17, I had a missing pregnancy. So fast forwarding to when I was 19, I had a full-on, fully conscious experience with tall blondes. And just a quick snapshot of what happened during that episode was what I'm calling a min light. I don't know what it was, like an orb, actually flew out of the sky at about 9 o'clock at night and came up to me and interacted with me a little bit, and then hit me in the head and crashed into me and sort of did something unknown, whatever that was. And then I found myself floating up into the air as a person. It wasn't my astral state. And looking upwards, I was approaching a spacecraft up in the sky, about probably 300 meters in the sky, and I could hear, "Don't look down, don't look up, look up, look up." So something was talking to me, I suppose telepathically. And so when I looked up, and I thought, oh my gosh, this was 1991. So I didn't think we had, technology that advanced to just sit there in the sky silently. And just a brief description of what it was actually a rectangular spacecraft. And I've found now, since through my research, it's similar to Charles Hall's tall white scout craft. Anyway, if anyone's familiar with that. So they actually, I described it in my diaries as a double hull, and that had a double hull. I actually described it, and he describes a double hull as well. So, and also swivel seats. It had swivel seats in it, and he described swivel seats as well. So that's the most similar research that I've been able to find of what beings were inside the craft, which were 4 tall blondes. So
did you have
go further? So yeah,
when you got inside the craft, did it look different? Like sometimes we have these, in my case, I was seeing a little biblical tent, but when I got inside, it was this huge round craft. So did it look rectangular when you were inside?
Yes.
And what did you see when you were inside?
Well, what I saw inside, I sort of came up under a hatch, I suppose, from underneath, and inside was like a deck that I was standing on, so an open area, and there were 2 females and 2 males. And I'll just tell you the whole story. And I didn't know, obviously, what I was going to come across. So I could clearly see these weren't human, even if they looked human or humanoid. And so we had an interaction where I thought that this was the first time these beings had ever come to planet Earth. So I said, "Welcome to planet Earth," which is embarrassing, probably, because I had the decision to make right then and there. Am I going to scream and go, "Oh my God, this is so terrifying," or am I going to be an ambassador? And I chose to take the route of an ambassador, because I thought this could be the first time they've ever interacted with a human. So I break this down in my book moment to moment and thought to thought, just to try and draw out everything that I possibly could out of the encounter. And I think I stepped forward to shake hands or to kind of greet them, and they were like, "Oh my God, get away from me!" So, as it was, one of the females said, "Don't." What'd you say? If you touch us, it will kill you, which is a funny statement. So it's sort of like a threat to stay back, don't touch us. Like, I don't think they actually meant to kill me, but that was.
Do you know if it was
words.
related to their skin or chemicals in their body? Did they explain what could you be killed if you touch them, or it was more like a kind of respectful thing, like, you know, don't
I think
touch
it was definitely that. I've talked to Dolly Saffron, who's a fully conscious contactee, and you might be familiar with her story.
Yes.
And she's familiar with the blondes. A lot of people actually have contact with the blondes, and I found out since. And they've got a very high protocol of how to respectful protocol, respectful distance, and that's their part of their protocol. It could be tall whites. They were blondes. I call them tall blondes. I looked very similar to them, so I actually stood there thinking, what are these people going to do with me? Because we all looked pretty much the same, except I was short. So, and then that became like, I was like, well, you know, you're going to kill me, you're going to, you know, implant me, you're going to rape me, you're going to, what are you going to do to me? You know, abduct me, you're going to take me away, you're going to disappear me. And the answer was, we're inviting you to fly the craft. So that took me aback, because I was sort of thought, oh, well, that's gone from, you know, friendly to not friendly to friendly again. So I sat in the seat with the tall blonde, who was my main contact then. And I think I've actually had lots more contact with him as well. And if anyone's seen one of the Preston Dennett books, Not From Here, there's a tall blonde drawn on the front cover, and that looks identical to him. And what's funny is that when I was remembering all this, trying to just come together with piece all my experiences together, I actually was hyper focusing on this amazing picture, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, why am I feeling so much out of this picture? And the same thing happened actually with the Skinny Bob pictures as well. That looks identical to the greys that I've you know, had other experiences with over the last 20 years. So when it's going back to this, oh, sorry, Tim, did you want to talk?
Yeah, I was just going to say, going back to when they said, don't touch us, it will kill you. I was thinking about the Virginia, Brazil encounter, where the soldier grabbed a hold of the alien life form and put it into a truck, and afterwards he died from touching that alien. So it could be something to do with their skin, not necessarily with the respect protocol, but with the skin itself. Maybe the bacteria or what's going through their system is deadly to us.
Right. Well, I do remember them wearing full-on suits, like the tight, you know, we all hear about sort of like skin tight suits. I can't remember what color it was. I chose blue. However, I actually thought that it might have been their actual clothes that were electrified or something, that if I accidentally touched one or brushed past one, it may you know, have some sort of radiation or electricity or something in it. So so I sat in one of these swivel seats with this tall blonde guy next to me, who was, I think we're using mind or thought control consciousness for the craft, and I was able to fly the craft by using my consciousness, I suppose. And I remember looking, I could see, so there was like a windscreen or a viewer at the front, and I was able to see the ground, and I could tell the craft was moving because I could see the ground rolling underneath. So I could see like fields and, well, we were obviously somewhere rather.
Before they got you to fly the craft, did they explain to you why you are here? Why did we get you? What is your goal here inside the craft?
No. I assumed, like I'd said, I'd never seen anybody like this before, but then I realized later on they must have taken, must have had contact with them, because I think they're the ones that have my 2 missing pregnancies. So what happened then, I was able to fly the craft, and then the same man said, well, you think that's fast, this is fast. And we swapped over, and he must have been getting annoyed with me going so slow. And then he just went like so fast that there was no bearings at all. And it was flying for a long time, like hours, and so fast. And I don't think we left the Earth, but we may have gone to America for all I know. That's how fast and far we were going. And the thing that disturbed me was, I thought, but we're going so, this has ceased to become a demonstration, you know? This is not demonstrating this anymore to me, because he's just flying the craft as fast as and far away as he possibly can. And I did get panicky, and I said, I think I've asked more than twice, because finally I leaned down and I did touch him on the arm, and I said, I grabbed hold of his bicep, sort of thing, because I thought that's a safe zone, you know. And I thought I didn't die. That's the first thing. Yeah, great. And then the second, and so I leant into his, because I thought, this other woman, I don't want her to hear me talking to him and touching him, sort of thing. So I sort of leant in and I said, excuse me, very politely and respectfully, could we please go back now? And I might have said, you know, I've got to get to work or whatever, and it's taking too long. You know, it's going to take longer to get back than, you know, the whole night would have gone. Anyway, so he said, yes. And I was like, phew, great. And then he said, but first we're going to put an implant in the back of your neck. And that freaked me out, obviously. And then I had a blackout time. But
when you touched him, how did his body feel?
Like a muscly
hours, you know, something like,
yeah,
or just like same kind of body like us?
Yeah, it was a human body, human feeling body, but a really tall body. So when he was sitting in the swivel chair and I was standing next to him, we were similar heights, or if not, he was slightly taller, because I sort of was leaning into him. So yeah, there was missing time as well. However, there was a couple of questions that that we talked about that I do remember. So that I think I've got memories of us coming. I do have memories. Here's another one of these memories that came back. Was we were flying in a different craft, I think it was, because we were all sitting together, like in a, you know, 2 in the front, 2 in the back style craft, coming back, and it was already daylight. And that's a memory that's come back since. And we were all sort of chatting, but I do remember asking them questions in the other craft, and when they said to me, is there anything you want us to answer? And I said, yeah, well, where are you from? And they said, we're travelers. And I said, yes, but where are you from? You know, I'm like, where exactly? Who are you guys? And they just said again, we're travelers. And that was all they could tell. That was all they told me. And because they were tall blondes, I was like, are these guys like backpackers? Who are these guys? Where are they from? Are they from Sweden? Who indeed are you? And then I'd said, they said, we'll see you again. And so I snapped awake in my bed, and I went, oh, you know, where's this thing? And I do have a lump there, but I don't know how long that's been there. And
do you remember the implant procedure?
No, I don't. And I think they might have, because I got panicky, I think they might have calmed me down with whatever they were doing with me.
Blacked you out for that time period.
Yeah. But I do remember those couple of things. And then when I woke up in the morning time, I put the radio on, and there was the first thing that came on was there was a report of UFO. But it wasn't the same kind of craft that I'd seen. It was a long cylindrical green, like fluorescent light that somebody had reported. The guy who worked at the radio station had seen it, and he was telling everybody himself. So it wasn't even on the news. It was him saying, "Oh my God, last night I saw a UFO." Mm-hmm. So then that whole day when I was at work, I was looking out for these tall blondes. Like, they said they were going to see me. Where are they? And I spent the whole day looking. I couldn't be bothered working. I was just looking for these people all day, but I don't think they came in. And if they did, they didn't look anything like they did. And I wouldn't be able to draw them, unfortunately. I thought, I'm going to remember them forever, but I don't. I just remember two tall blondes.
We do have a question for you.
Did you get that implant checked?
No, I haven't. No, because I thought, I woke up and I was like, oh, that's not. I don't have shaved head like I thought they were going to do. Thank God. And so I thought, oh, I must have dreamt that because I woke up in my bed, Although I didn't think I dreamt it, because why would you dream something and then look all day long for people at you in your dream? Doesn't make any sense, And you don't remember dreams like 30 or 40 years on. You don't remember everything that happened in a dream. And it's
but you didn't do like an MRI or a CT to check it out.
I haven't, no, but I have had X-rays of my neck region, because I do have neck and shoulder pain permanently anyway. So that was from a car accident and when I was 16. But yeah, so go. Sorry.
We do have a question I need to address in the chat room from TETs. Rowan, do you know if orbs are the aliens' drones, and could they be dangerous to us as
well? What I am actually writing about in my book is a big section on orbs. I don't call them drones, but I suppose people could call them drones. So I've had a lot of experience with drones in 2022. I actually had an awakening, if you want to call it that, and me just sort of coalescing all my contact into one. It's like, oh, here we go. Something got activated in me, seriously, and I even something activate me again. If that makes any sense, anyone might have experienced that. But I was seeing these orbs in the sky time and time again, in doing random repeating things, and there was no question if they were ET, and they also responded to consciousness again. So I was able to go, oh, you guys up there, and then you'd see a flash, this sort of stuff. So one time I was meditating, and they actually told me to do a meditation course. So this is this is the kind of telepathic contact that I've had since. And they said I should do a meditation course. But there was another time that I was meditating, and I thought, hang on, I've got contact with these guys now. So I leapt up, ran outside, and I saw an orb float away from above my house. So I think it's got a lot to do with them talking to people. I think that might be why we get downloads in the middle of the night. They're sending out information, and I actually think if you really wanted to, you ask them questions. One time I asked them, I realized that they're not going to give me information unless I ask a question. So I said, what is time? And I had a whole massive download all night long of all this stuff. And all I remember at the end of it was like, time is like a big whirlpool where it's all rotating and rolling all at once together. That's why we can jump between one time and this time and that time, because it's all basically swirling around together. So there you go. That's a download for you guys now. And another time I asked them, what's an orb? And the answer I got back was plasma. I had no idea what plasma was. Now they're calling them plasmoids. So I actually had to Google what on earth plasma was. So they actually told me that they were plasma.
Did any member of your family, parents, for example, or your kids have had these kind of experiences?
They don't remember any experiences. I asked Mum a couple of years ago if she'd seen a UFO, thinking she's going to say no. And Mum said, "Of course I've seen a UFO. I mean, ridiculous, of course." And I'm like, "What? Why do you tell me this?" And but she's got dementia, and she wouldn't. And I said, "Well, when?" She's like, "I don't remember. Don't be ridiculous." So I was like, oh my God, there's somebody I could actually talk to about this, but she's got dementia and my dad's passed away. But my eldest son, who I've promised him I won't name him, he a few years ago had 3 episodes during 1 year where he's like, "Mum, I woke up naked," or "Mum, I didn't wear these clothes when I went to bed." So he knows that I've talk about this too. So I think he's pretty psychic as well. So yeah. They're the only times and of course my dad was in driving the car when we had the shadowing us for miles and hours in the UK in 93. So but we never talked about it again either. So people just don't talk about this stuff.
That's why we try really hard to get people to talk about it. That's the whole point. Because we're going to bring about disclosure on our own.
Yeah, that's exactly what I realized. That's why I'm writing this book. I think the US government knows exactly what's going on. They have been studying consciousness since 1972, I think it was. As we know with the remote viewing and Uri Geller, Polly, you know about him.
Yes.
And so do I. Yeah.
And the Bigelow Institute of Consciousness Studies, they were studying life after death at parallel and using the same scientists, in case people didn't know this, everyone would, parallel to the Skinwalker ORSAP, $22 million, Utah ranch that they were all studying, that now they're disclosing, of course. So that was actually parallel study. So why would they be doing that? That doesn't make any sense unless they know full well that UFOs are consciousness driven, and at least that's my opinion and research.
Well, I have to say this. Back in the Roswell crash, they actually found in the disk that wasn't destroyed, because there were supposedly 2. In the second disk that they found a hole in, when they went inside, they found what Nos calls a representative that was part of the ship, the craft, and how they got him out of there, or the being out of there. When they got him out, there was a visor of some sort that he was wearing that they felt was consciousness or thought driven for the vehicle, for communication with the organic, the biological vehicle.
Well, it makes sense. And Dolly Saffron, again, to refer back to her, she also reports that her craft is embodied by a 5th or 6th density being or dimensional being, who's only like a spirit, I suppose, or a light being, and is bodiless, but they are helping, I suppose, and they've got an agreement to help or something like that. Anyway, I'm not talking for her, but she talks about Talada or Talira, and that's the name of the craft, TLERA, and that's actually a being itself that is control of the craft.
The craft is alive. Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that lately in abduction accounts that when they go on a vehicle itself is actually living. It's not metal and bolts like we would build.
That's right. And interestingly, I find through my research there is a I think I wrote it down. There's one of the research documents, the DIRD, DIRD, from Earth Tech, from the ORSAP and from the ORSAP program, and it's about how to man a craft without using limbs. So that explains to me. It's not the exact words, but basically how to work hardware without using limbs.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore they were already studying that back in early 2000s or late 1990s.
Yeah.
So they know full well, in my opinion, the US government. And so to circle back, it is us abductees who are the people who can and should be the disclosure advocates here.
Yeah,
I
totally agree. Do you think your miscarriages are related to them? And do you know if you have like kids outside there? Have you seen them?
I have. I had a conscious meditation with the female grey that I have contact with, who I just call it sounds like a cup of tea, Lady Grey, like Earl Grey, but or the Grey Lady. So that's this contact that I've had for like 25 years, or continuing now. Kind of like a psychic contact with her, and I was doing a meditation. And I asked her, does she know where my children are? And behind her, there was a lovely, long-haired, like curly, kind of light blonde hair girl and a blonde boy. So I don't know whether they're genetically just mine or if they they may be just like guardians of the children. But it was a bit sad. I was crying my eyes out, but with pure love and happiness that they were happy. And you know what? They've had the best kind of upbringing, because they are aware of all this higher information that we're just all now coming to terms with consciousness and psychic and all that spiritual.
And they're also removed from the brutality of our nature on Earth.
Yeah, and I have had contact with them now. I remember, like, obviously I was so young, so I wasn't ready to be a mum myself. So that they've done a kindness by bringing up beautiful children, and in place of me just being so young, to be completely honest. And they understand now that I was too young. Now when I felt of the right age to have my own children, I was 30, so maybe I'm just a slow maturer, but I just wasn't ready to have my own children at age 17 and 20.
Mm-hmm.
I still felt like a child.
I brought mine when I was 38, so it's okay.
I was going to ask you, in regards to your miscarriages, were they actually miscarriages, or were they incidents where they actually removed the child?
I have no memory of the actual process that they did remove the child from me. I have other people that I've talked to ever since, who I know one lady, and you may be familiar with her or not. It's Glenys McKay, and she was the MUFON leader over here for many decades in Australia. And she had a child taken out of her uterus at 7 months. So I know this happens. Yeah. And this is in 1972. So, one day she went to the obstetrician. The next day, she wasn't pregnant. So this does happen.
Right.
So the story. I apologize for anybody who's sensitive to the topic of abortions. However, like I said, I just couldn't possibly have raised a child at 17. I just had that car accident that I mentioned earlier 1 year before, and my body was still broken, frankly. Apologize again that if this is a sensitive topic, but I did choose to have an abortion, and when I went to the abortion clinic, there was no fetus in there. I was nearly 12 weeks. So and then it happened again at a different hospital 3 years later when I accidentally got pregnant and broke up with the guy before I realized I was pregnant. So, and I was extra careful after that. I never, ever got pregnant without, well, at least that I know of anyway. But they're the two. And I always knew that they didn't die. I know that sounds weird, but I knew they were still alive, and I actually named the first child. So I know, you know what I mean? Like it's hard to understand. I know people might go, oh yeah, as if, but I am a bit. My mum actually knew I was going to have a car accident a week before I had a car accident. So there's more to how like a human than just their body. We do know things, and we should have a right to say that without people thinking that we're crazy. That's the whole point. This is the whole point of contact, because they do contact us through telepathy, and they do talk amongst themselves through telepathy. So why aren't we allowed to be telepathic or have precognition ourselves? Yeah. That's our next stage. We've got to get through. We've got to get to there. That's what we were talking earlier about, these autistic savant children. And people. You ask anybody, have you ever talked to a relative who's passed? Every single one of them will say, "Oh yeah, I had lots of signs," or "Oh yeah, I talk to them every day," or have you ever thought of somebody before they rang? Yep, everyone will say that. So we don't actually name it, and we for some reason don't listen to our instincts.
Or you pick up the phone to call somebody and they're already on the phone.
That's weird. I have that with my new partner. I'm starting to text, and I get a text while I'm writing a text. Happens every day.
I know.
I've actually called somebody and I'll start dialing, and all of a sudden I'll hear hello. And I'm like, who is this? And they'll say, it's so-and-so. And I'm like, wow, I was just dialing you. It's weird. It does happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it happens with my son sometimes, I'm telling him sometimes, like, the phone is going to ring. And the first and second time he said, like, how do you know? But actually, when the phone ringed, he said, like, how the hell do you know? But it's this kind of feeling that it's going to happen. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm telling him all the time, hold on, the phone is going to ring. And I don't know how I know, but I just know,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so I think this is the whole point of contact. Humanity is being shown that there's just so much more going on in the universe. As now science is finally kind of catching up with quantum physics, and I know they're obviously studying it in the US government, clearly.
What's interesting to me about? What's interesting to me about? Sorry, Polly. What's interesting to me about scientists are they're looking at it in a scientific manner. Okay, they're not opening up their minds. They're still constricted by the confines of a scientific view. If they actually open up their minds to what we're talking about and what everybody's experiencing, then maybe new sciences would come about. But right now, I don't see it happening. Nos, go ahead.
Okay, that's my soapbox being called up. All right.
Agreed.
So here is the deal. I want to make things really simple and really clear for the entire audience. Okay. All the testimony that's gone on in Congress and the documents that they've shared, about the performance characteristics of vehicles that they've documented. And they keep using this phrase over and over, violates the laws of physics, violates the laws of physics. Okay. The second that happens, they're the rules of physics, not the laws of physics. Okay. Because it means that there is greater understanding available to learn on the mechanics of the universe in order for these things to happen. And once you know those things can happen, you can start looking for ways to make them happen. Right. But when you look at where academia has put us, everyone who is alive today grew up in a world where academia dictated the limits of reality. They told you what you were and were not allowed to believe what was possible. And then, religious institutions and government each take their turn in that seat. And they all, take credit for making sure you understand reality. And they have all been telling you something contrary to the existence of celestial craft intervening in life on Earth. And once you can't trust the people that have told you they're the only ones you can trust, and they taught you to not trust everyone else, you don't listen to yourselves. So
that in the background they are studying it, because like I repeated before, should I say, the remote viewing and the center, what was it, the NIDS, the something Discovery Science, the Institute of Discovery Science. They're discovering science. They know exactly what's going on. They have been studying it. And like I said, the consciousness studies, and they have been studying craft, and that's what Bob Lazar was doing. He was studying. So it's just been kept from us, or people aren't interested in investigating, or it's called kooky if you try and investigate something that isn't the normal rhetoric. So
limiting the thought potential, the conceptual limitations of the population, so that they don't ask questions that lead them to discovery.
Exactly. And I actually heard a few years ago that they're going to stop maybe I'm wrong, but it blew my mind enough for me to remember that they said they're not going to teach physics anymore because we already know everything.
Yeah.
There you go. That just says it right there, doesn't it? How are you supposed to ever learn anything new? And what's more is all of the new technology that anyone ever gets that's repressed, or they all of a sudden die.
Just
saying. Yeah.
And we are discovering every year something new, about our physics, about our universe, about everything. When I was at school in the 80s, there were only 9 planets, and that's it. And now, you can't count them anymore. So everything changes so fast, and still we've been lied all the time about the reality of everything.
Well, yeah, like we were taught in school, and I'm sure Polly and Nos remembers this. We were taught originally that the planets revolve in a circle around the sun, like this. But now they're coming out and saying, no, we travel in a spiral through the galaxy.
Yeah.
And we're constantly moving. That's totally different. So basically what we were taught was wrong. So it makes me think, how many things have they taught us that is incorrect? And
exactly.
4 out of 5 doctors smoke Camel cigarettes. Old advertisements. The thing on science with what you can trust and what you can't trust is that the pursuit of science isn't for the final knowing. It's ever decreasing measures of unknown, right? We observed the wind when we were very primitive, and it was like, I don't know, magic sky beings, right? And now we understand, okay, so, when the sun comes out, it's passing infrared radiation. Some of it makes it through cloud layers, some of it doesn't. The amount of heat it makes is based on the color of the soil or the vegetation, and these things cause the, heat that creates the thermal updraft, and then you start getting the swirling things, and there you go, wind. All right. So we've got more of that, but that doesn't mean that we have mastery of it yet, right? We're not controlling our weather globally around the world. There's certainly experimentation in that, but we don't have the ability to just dial it up and schedule the weather all around the world, right? It's a process that is ever evolving and making a lot of mess as it goes. But
just a bit of a side note there. People once upon a time thought that the elements, wind, fire, water, and earth, all were alive and were conscious, and spiraling back to that. I think that everything is conscious, actually, as we're now discovering with maybe the simulation theory, and that you think something and something happens, so it's actually responding to our thoughts, and that comes back to the quantum physics. So who's to say that everything actually isn't already conscious? Just saying, just going there. So we do have a lot to learn. We can't say we know everything. And now they're talking about interdimensional. Well, what does that imply? That these things are coming through interdimensionally? They aren't. That they don't have evidence of them being extraterrestrial. And that's exactly what they are saying. And people are saying, oh, they're lying. But actually, maybe they are telling us the truth. Maybe there is such a thing as dimensions that we don't even know yet, that we don't know how to measure. We can't go and see these things. We don't know where they're coming from.
Right.
Science has determined that they have already discovered 16 dimensions. I don't know how they did that, because I only know a few, like height, width, depth. Those are 3.
And then we're talking about the 4th dimension being the astral field, or where our thoughts are, or perhaps where we go when we dream. But maybe heaven's another dimension, or maybe hell, if there is such a thing as hell. Demons, angels and demons that they're talking about, that they are saying these are angels and demons. That's coming from To the Stars. What are they actually thinking? What are they disclosing? So be prepared for them to disclose random weird things that blow our mind.
I personally believe this. I think they're trying to muddy the waters with a religious take. Just because everybody's trying to present the facts, and everyone has a different viewpoint, and I think they're just trying to muddy the waters. To the Stars Academy has always been a little bit, in my opinion, in the government's pocket. So it's very possible that they're trying to muddy the waters to the point that we don't see the truth.
But
we start thinking religiously.
Lou Elizondo was To the Stars, and he just it was on the last hearings. Yeah, but I haven't read his book, actually. I've bought his book. Anyone else read it?
Yes, I've read it. I own it.
Not yet.
I own it, but I'm trying to do my own book, so I can't keep on researching.
I have to brag. He gave me a signed copy.
Oh, that's nice. Good on you. Wow, that'd be worth something one day.
There you go.
Well, anyway, to tie up the show, I suppose, I don't know how long our show's going for. I think that they are going to disclose something this year. Anyone know when Trump's in? I don't watch the news, so I suppose he wants to open the lid on the UFO
I don't know if he's going to do that. Every president that I've been alive for has promised to open up the UFO files, and at the last minute, renege on it. They don't do it for some reason. So I hope and pray that'll happen, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
Well, I don't know either. What on earth they will say if To the Stars is saying that they. I saw something the other day that Tom Elizondo, what's his name? Something Elizondo. No, Tom DeLonge. I'm getting the two mixed up. Sorry.
Tom DeLonge. Yeah.
Tom DeLonge reckons that they're the old gods. That he said that some of the UFOs have Greek lettering, ancient Greek lettering on them. And I'm thinking, is this for real? So I don't know. I don't know if it's all of the above, like they say, or again, I don't even know. And I'm the one. That's why I'm calling this book The Travelers, because I explore all these topics in the book just to sort of go, here's what everyone's talking about. And yeah, there's 20 different theories. Good luck with figuring it all out, guys. I'm just going to present it here to you.
Well, I was thinking about, you were thinking for a long time if doing a regression or something of that style. What was your breaking point when you decided to go to Mary Rothwell? And what did you discover about your experience?
Well, again, we didn't go into my experience. We just went... We talked. I sent her one of my. There was just too much to talk about, so we couldn't do it in a 1 hour session. So I sent her one of my interviews so that she understood of everything, rather than me then telling her for an hour. And in the end, it was just about me remembering. So what I was actually going to mention about the Grey Lady was, for those 20 years of contact with her, about once a year they would come and pick me up and take me on board. And there's things that I remember about that. But my main memory was that she would sit about 2 foot away from me and just stare at me. And it was December, actually, this year just gone, when I finally realized what she was doing to me this whole time, was she was teaching me to meditate and teaching me things like, obviously, spiritual things, how to love, how to raise your vibration, how to be psychic. She was actually teaching me these things with her just sitting there demonstrating to me. And so that's what I mean about this consciousness. That's the most important part of our contact, I think, their contact with us, because they're the ones who found us. And that's when I think that, and actually now, and I may have mentioned it earlier, but she is basically helping me write this book. Every day I wake up and I'm like, oh God, I've got my brain full of stuff. To squiggle it in a journal just to get it all out, because what I've learned is if I walk away and like, I'll figure that one out later, then I come down to sit and write, and I'm like, what on earth did she even tell me to write? So I actually have to be right on the ball all the time, every day, writing stuff. So that's what I'm basically channeling, I suppose. It's not so much her information, it's more philosophies, how we can apply this new, well, it's not new, people have known for a long time how to meditate for thousands of years in the Buddhist spiritual religion, but also in my book I'm going to give people the opportunity to how to deal with this new paradigm, because this is a new paradigm. We're going to be people would never have even thought about UFOs. And if the US government does disclose that there's things here, whatever they are, where a lot of people are going to be blown out of the water, people are going to, it will blow their minds. People like me who have had contact for 40 years, it still blows my mind, you know, as people who have had contact may understand. It's not like you get used to it. You're still like, whoa, you know, that's the most amazing thing. And still to this day, I'm like, did that really happen? And then you get yet another. Oh, actually, I haven't mentioned, but after I realized that she was showing me how to meditate while I was meditating and trying to just connect with her for like an hour, I went outside and I got 3 flashes immediately in the sky. So it was like, yep, that's my confirmation. Yeah, if I need another confirmation, that's another confirmation, you know. So all the time this is getting confirmed that this is actually real.
Yes.
And that it is
and
consciousness.
That's the beautiful side of it too. The confirmations all the time through so many different ways, you know, even those flashes suddenly after your meditation. So yeah,
and them guiding me to say, do meditation, or this is plasma, or this is what time is, you know, those are significant things. And
can you tell us the steps that you take to meditate so that people in the chat room will have an idea of what you do to release this information into your mind?
I think that the thing that we should be accessing is what we're going. I'm just going to start to call the field outside of us. I think Tesla did it. Perhaps Einstein did it, and you know, other people. You can actually get amazing insight if you sit quietly. I sit with my legs crossed, but other people can't do that. That's okay. I close my eyes. I put my hands on my legs. Some people say put your hand up to be more open to God, but the circuit's closed because we are energy. And so that's what I do. I put my hands down because you've got chakras in your hands and they're powerful energy points and they're creative. And that's where we create from, through our hands. And then I sit quietly. I actually have put just any kind of meditation tonal music on. You can find it all on YouTube. Just put meditation music in, and something that can go for 12 hours. You can put it on during your sleep. And I suppose it's what the Monroe Institute was doing, like a tonal music when they were remote viewing or OBEing, out of body experience. And then I don't necessarily clear my mind, because sometimes if I'm asking a question, I want something answered. So I try and just calm myself down. You can feel your mind going into a slightly altered state. You stop thinking quite as much, and you can focus on. I don't want to say just try and get information from anything, because I think there may be negative entities out there. So I try and just focus on the source. And I think the source is the best, most safest thing to try and get information from. And it's like a golden light. So try and just focus on the golden light. And you can sometimes get like a really weird answer to your problem. And you know what? Action it, because that's the highest source that you're going to find. So that's what I suggest. Yeah.
Nos, could this be coming from the grid?
Yeah. She was an instructor to get her to look deeper, and she's been looking deeper. You know, she's being provided a framework of explanation for the information so that she keeps moving forward. So yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. And not just that, but you know, we do if you want to go to the Akashic records, our social memory complex, all of humanity's memories are surrounding the planet in maybe another field or dimension. And, you know, everything's already been done before and thought before, or thought in the future. So we can have access to anything and everything, frankly, which is what they do with remote viewing.
That's what we were talking about. Tim was using shorthand with me and asking if it was about the grid. It's a reference to the network of these archives that exist and connect together, and their communication lines between the nodes around the world are made for communicating with those of the bloodlines suitable to hear.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's
and that's what
is the Akashic records from lore, and it's the ley lines from lore as well. It's once you put them together, chink, yeah,
a big connect. We're all connected anyway, because we're all part of the universe. So the universe isn't, unless we feel disconnected, we are all connected. You know, it's automatic, but it's just us being conscious of it.
I've always looked at the universe as a living organism, and we're all cells. Or we're all blood cells floating around in this big, huge organism, you know, or we're neurons responding to stimulus within the organism. It's kind of a different way of looking at it. The Hopi Indians used to believe that all the planets were connected by a spider web.
And then you look at the images that they've created up for the galactic superclusters and the motion that they're following to the great attractor. And you go, oh, there's that spider web they were talking about.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. It's called the POS. The biggest structure in the universe is that everything's connected through like a neurons, basically, in somebody's brain. Synapses.
They say a lot of UFO sightings started happening when we set off the first atomic weapon, because it made that spider web tremor, and it was felt
the world a stroke.
And what's more is that apparently we are affecting the other dimensions. At least that's what what's his name? Now I've forgotten his name. The guy that did Day After Roswell, he apparently met
Orso.
Yes, and he met an ET, and he basically said something like that we just don't understand the dimensions, except that we are affecting the other dimensions. And you know what? We didn't stop. We did another 1,000 bombs after that, and we brought one in from space. We did one in space with that Starfish Prime, brought down apparently a UFO.
Well, I think the point is that the fact that we don't see it with our own eyes doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You know, it's like you are sitting in your desk, in your front desk right now, and you are touching the table, and those protons are moving. Well, you don't see how your hand and the table are connected. In fact, we don't see it, but we are connected to everything somehow. Everything is moving. Our brain just don't get it.
Yeah.
I think personally our brain could get it if we could use more of it. We're just not utilizing the majority of our brain.
That's the activation thing. Yeah, you got to activate yourself. Don't get away from that TV. Get away from the screen. Think and start activating yourself. You know, you're not people are sitting here worrying about what makeup they're wearing or what. Not here in present. People are worrying what they're wearing and worrying who. You know, it's nothing important. Those things aren't important. About what couch you've got and things, just that's not living. They feel they've got the most stuff, but they feel the most empty,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why, because stuff don't fill the empty.
Yep.
Okay, let's take last comments from Polly first. Go ahead, Polly.
What do you think, Ro? First of all, it's just amazing to have you with us again. I'm so happy to hear your story because, it's like It doesn't matter how many times you tell your story, you're always discovering new things in this contactee's story. And maybe you yourself talking about it will make you even remember more things. And you are just a voice, a huge voice for the whole community. So thank you so much for joining us again.
Thanks,
And I'm so
Holly.
proud of you, my girl. I'm really proud of you.
We've been
Really.
friends for a long time, and online friends. And, you know, I think I've certainly grown from somebody scared who was too afraid to talk, and I just couldn't articulate what or see the big picture of this whole thing. And you know what? I was too scared to talk to anybody about, and didn't really have anybody to talk to about the UFO phenomenon. And now I feel like I've just done a full circle. Now
And
I'm
I
happy to
feel
talk about it.
personally that your personal path made a huge step forward the moment you started talking about this. Your relationship changed from a non-supporting relationship to a total supportive relationship. And
Hi,
so,
Alex.
hi, Alex.
You'll be watching. Hi, Alex.
So
He's
yeah,
also,
you know, I'm so happy for you because
Thank
everything,
you.
all the pieces are falling together as they should in order
Yeah.
for you to come forward and to talking about this and now writing about the book and even going to Mary Rothwell, you know, so everything is going forward in the right way. The pieces of this puzzle are falling in the right place as they should. So my last
And you know,
question for you.
oh, sorry,
Sorry. Go ahead. No, please go ahead.
Oh, no, well, I was just going to have a shout out to Andrew Radzowicz, who I did a psychic session with in March of 2023. And he, looking back like 2 years later, he said, if you keep going with this, your whole life will change. And your whole life, like the UFO topic, your whole life will just blossom. And I couldn't understand a word that he was saying. And actually, circling back to the pregnancies, the first thing he said was, who's lost babies? Who has lost 2 babies? And I was like, oh, I couldn't be talking about me. He must be talking about another family member. Anyway, he was the one that reaffirmed. I mean, he didn't have to start with anything. That's what he started with. And that blew my mind straight away. Because he said that they were on the other side, that they were safe on the other, they were alive. And then I said, are you talking about the ETs? And he said, oh, thank God you know about the ETs, because that's where they are. Yeah. Hi, Alex.
Well, you're shining. Yeah. You are shining and you look shining and you look so much relieved. And I'm really proud of you. You know, I'm right beside you. Holly. I would like to, as a final question, just to ask you, what do you think is their message through you and your experience to our community and humanity?
I've been asking the same question. Like I said, what is the point of this book? And then it occurred to me, I'm talking to them. I'm actually asking them, what? You know, that's what I realized. This is the most important thing. This communication, this psychic, this spirituality, that we're all connected, that we can all experience. And I've got a bit of a guide in the back of my book. I'm going to be, you know, how do you become psychic? How do you meditate? How to you know, how to be how to manifest things in your life. And this is the things I'm already doing. So I really want people to be able to have control of their life in the most positive, happy way. How to be happy, you know, and by meditating, by just looking at your problems every day, that's answering the problems and getting guidance. So this is the most important thing. is having access to all of that information that the ET already clearly has, because they're already doing it. And we already know that's part of the phenomena, is where people become psychic or have to experience telepathy around the ET. So it's almost like, I want to just call it like a drop of oil in the ocean that spreads, because it's a ripple effect. And by me talking about it, somebody else will experience, and by growing. And so that ripple effect can basically spark something, well, a paradigm shift is what we really want, isn't it? Where we're all being the best humans that we can be.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. So when the enlightened perspective of the world is challenged and you're feeling the pressure, what's the music you put on to feel better?
And we've been listening to the Beatles a lot, and I do that meditation every day. As soon as I start freaking out or anything happens, everyone's life's difficult sometimes, you know, and it's just a matter of giving yourself some space to think about what the problem is. What are we going through? Everyone goes through stuff. Give yourself that time to heal and to realize what you're thinking. You know, if everyone just goes around screaming at everyone, then no one's happy, are they? Including that person. Why would you want to live like that?
Yeah.
So, you know,
for me, I keep the negative thoughts away because I manage my brain like I manage a computer. There is a processing budget. There's only so much I can commit to memory at a time. There's only so much I can think about. And most of what the world cares about, not worth my time.
You know? Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I don't worry about watching the news. It's all small stuff. I mean, maybe it's not small stuff, but I also think that we can all change the world if we change ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's the best place to start. We can't change anything else. We can only change ourselves. So action these things, you know. Don't just go, oh, if only I had a better life. Well, create it and make it happen.
Well, I think that's the beauty of consciousness and awakening, you know, the moment we realize our lives and universe are much more deeper than, you know, fashion and jewels and whatever. Because by the end of the line, we are all earthlings, and we should be giving each other the hand to help. Doesn't matter even your own religion, you know, you can have a religion, but that's different from spirituality. Those are two different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so just always remember that we are earthlings. Doesn't matter the color of your skin or your religion. Always be empathic to other people. Support and be conscious, because that's what matters, in my opinion.
We need to look at the world not as a singular person, but as a whole. And that's
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
No,
and we don't. We look at individual states, individual countries. Why don't we just come together?
Yeah,
and we need to recognize that something's stopping us from coming together. Something's stopping us from having our full information. The full information, not only on the UFO, but a full information of what our legacy is, what our go there, Nos, what our gifts are and abilities are. So why, who or what? And then I'm not trying to say we need to rise up against something, but we just have to be aware of something is stopping us from being the best we can be. I don't know what it is, but just know that there's something. So move on and be the best you can be. There's no reason to stop.
Yeah.
One thing I want to let you know, Rowan, you're more than welcome to come back when your book is out. We would
Thank
really
you.
like to debut it on the channel. So when you get it published and you got a copy in your hand, please feel free to come back on the channel and we'll discuss your book. Okay?
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
And
Thank you, guys.
one thing I want to say to you is you have become family with us.
Thank you.
You are a family member. Even though you're far removed in miles, you're not far removed in heart. So,
Yeah, us little experiences aren't so little anymore, and we are the only ones often that understand each other. So that automatically means we're family, doesn't it?
right, it does. And we want to thank you for coming tonight. I
Thank
don't
you
know
for
what
having me.
time it is where you are right now, but it's probably early morning.
No, it's
Is it?
it's early afternoon.
Early afternoon. Yeah, okay. And you're in the future, right?
I am in the future. Yes, I'm already on Thursday, early afternoon.
Yeah, and we're in the past. So everybody, we're
Yep.
time traveling. So
I'm in the
anyways,
middle. I'm in the middle. For me, it's
yeah.
5 a.m. Yeah.
Oh my
she's
God,
in,
well
she's in
done.
the middle.
Oh gosh, God, thank you for coming on so early and late,
And thank you both
guys.
for making it here in our time zone. We really appreciate it. Nos and I both. Anyways, we want to thank you very much for coming on. Can you tell people where you can be found online?
Well, I've got my own, and Polly, her and I have a Facebook group called UFO/UAP Disclosure Australia. And I started that myself, invited Polly to be the admin. She was the first girl on board. Hi.
Right.
And I've got an email if anyone wants to contact me. It's ufo.radio@proton.me. Me. So ufo.radio@proton.me.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
I'll hopefully be getting back to the radio show this year with Alex. So,
maybe you should consider taking your YouTube or your radio show and putting it on YouTube.
yes, that's a bit of a long
Journey
process, but that's not out of the realms.
Okay, well, we hope to see
And it's
you
an
there.
honor. Thanks, guys. It's a real honor to be on here again, and you guys being so supportive of me and of my story. And if you guys hadn't have said to me last year when I was on, oh, you should write a book, and somebody else, a couple of other people had said the same thing, so I took you up on the offer. So thanks, guys,
You
for
got it.
sending me in
welcome.
a good direction.
You're more than
We'll
welcome.
be waiting. We can't wait. And we are right beside you. We love you very
That's
much.
awesome.
And thank you so much for sharing everything with us.
Thank
So
you.
we
It's
want
an
to
honor.
thank you. We want to thank Nos and Polly for coming to the panel this evening. Thank you both ladies. Really appreciate it. Well, I want to thank everybody who watched online, everyone who participated in the chat room. You were very engaging and gracious to our guests. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. We are trying to schedule new guests for the new year. It's still the end of the holiday season, so a lot of people are hard to get, but we're working on it, and we will let you know through the alert system. Now, one thing I have to say, if you are subscribed to our channel, you need to reset your notification bell, because if you do not do that, you won't always get your alerts because the algorithm will block the alerts. So please reset your notification bell and switch it on for all. Select all, and that way you'll get all notifications. All right. Anyways, thanks everyone for coming. We'll see you next week. Good night from all of us on the panel.
Good night, guys.